gematria. And upon this system, which a simple mathematical formula 10,565 is shown to be the basic source of all manifested existence, that formula, when presented in the Hebrew letters corresponding to the numbers being Jod, Ha, Veha, or in English JHVH, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, a sacred ancient symbol, the trapezoid, of 10,565 proportions, which became known as JHVH among the Jews, Jehovah or Yahweh, IHOH in Phoenicia, IHUH in Chaldea, HUHI in Egypt, Oihahu in India, Hohai and Fohai in China, that's H-O-H-I and F-O-H-I, and Iowa in ancient America, I-O-W-A, Iowa. We find this symbol, the Jehovah symbol, as the shoulders and arms of Osiris as he judges the souls in Amenti, in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and as the apron worn by the mysterious stone colossi of Quirigua, Guatemala, copies of which are in our own American Museum of Natural History. Remember, this is an apron. It becomes a little more clear as we go along. We find the Masonic keystone to be not merely an architectural requisite, but the angle of exactly 23 1/2 degrees, or the correct inclination of the axis of the Earth to the pole of the ecliptic, and to embody the vertical section of the Great Pyramid of Giza 4 times repeated. We find the little clay idols of the departed aboriginal races of Colombia, South America, decorated with the geometrical glyphs of this secret order, the ornaments of the robes of the ancient Ica priests in Peru, but exemplifications of the same sacred figures, and the amulets of the Mayas and Toltecs in Mexico are also engraved with them. That there must have been some worldwide organization to distribute these symbols in ancient and prehistoric times is evinced by the fact that by common consent the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Mexicans constructed pyramids, which as shown by the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt and the Teocalli of Chichen Itza, Yucatan, as leading examples, were component parts of a single geometrical problem, the key to which is the simple Masonic apron as worn today, and the graphic symbol of which covenant is still preserved as a cosmic figure among the Hopi Indians right here in the state of Arizona. In discussing the Masonic keystone, Mr. Higgins displayed examples picked up in his travel from China, India, ancient Tyre, Egypt, and Palestine that were all cut on the same exact angle of 23 1/2 degrees. But perhaps his most precious specimens were several black serpentine amulets from Yucatan and Central America, more than 3,000 years old, that displayed the keystone and also the inverted Tau cross, so familiar to Masonic brothers in their lodge work. In pointing out the triangle of equal areas on the forehead of the amulet and the keystone nose, Mr. Higgins drew attention to the fact that the Jewish worshiper today describes with his fingers the triangle in the same place when making his invocation on the Day of Atonement. Another very rare specimen was an early Akkadian or Hittite seal expressing a triangle with 3 Masonic dots and the sacred proportions of 3 by 4 and 4 by 5, a total of 16, meaning Yah, or J-A-H. which means the universe.
Proof of God, Part 4. God's true name is recorded within our DNA. So let me go ahead and explain. Our chains of DNA contain 4 nucleotide base pairs called adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. And then there's a unit within the DNA strand called a sulfuric bridge. This sulfuric bridge holds our entire DNA strand together, and it only appears after every 10 nucleic acids have been laid down, and then after every 5 nucleic acids, and then after every 6, and then again after every 5 nucleic acids. So we get this repeating numerical value of 10565 within our DNA strand. Well, it turns out the biblical name of God, Yahweh, contains the same numerical value as our DNA strand. YHWH, 10565. What's even more interesting is that if you take the Hebrew name of God, Yahweh, and place it on its side, you get the image of a human being. Part 3 of this video series suggests that DNA is a language. Many people were wondering what God made the language of DNA. Well, it's signed by the biblical God, Yahweh.
But you do realize that this abomination, you see, it just so happens to be that the genetic sequence, the DNA, has numbers that are also assigned to it. Is add a 3rd strand to the DNA. And in doing this, it changes the numbers. And it just so happens to be that the DNA now receives 666.
Your DNA is a right-handed double helix made up of these 4 things right here. And the helix is held together by sulfuric bonds that appear after every 10 pairs of nucleotides, every 5 pairs of nucleotides, every 6 pairs of nucleotides, and again every 5 pairs of nucleotides. 10565, 10565, or in the Hebrew alphabet, YHWH, the signature of your creator, the signature of an artist under his painting, if you will. Now the magic potion, if you actually read the patents, it is adding a triple helix, and is adding more of this, which comes from a meteorite or a fallen star. And this 10565, YHWH, the signature of your creator, quickly turns into 1056665. Do I have your attention yet?
There is more than meets the eye with the terms El, translated into English as God, Yahweh, translated as the Lord, and El-OHIM, also translated as God. Today, these terms are all equated. Most people accept these meanings without looking for the meaning themselves, which is a monumental mistake. The Hebrew word El-OHIM means the God of gods, not of man. El-OHIM is often used as part of some compound titles for God in the Hebrew text, not originally Hebrew or even unique to God. We are told, but do we listen? Listen carefully. The term is found much earlier in history. El officially meaning mighty or strong one. The word El-OHIM or Elohim is a grammatically plural noun for gods or deities or various other words in biblical Hebrew. Im from Mematim is plural, which in turn is derived from Malachi. Akai is also plural, in turn a variation of Anunnaki. The component im refers to clay tablets. For example, im do good, which officially means to be defined, to be cognate with I am. The meaning I rendered from the language was, the god of the illustrious mound is in the clay tablets, and that would be Zu. Im do good is Anzu's alternative name. Zu stole the role of Bel, and became the god of gods. Im do good, to be defined. El-OHIM, yet to be defined. The word El-OHIM is sometimes specifically used for people. When used for God, it underlines his dominance and power over creation, particularly mankind. It often stresses a degree of separation and distance between God and man. Akha. The Sumerian Akkadian version of El is most certainly Al, and also possibly Il and Ul. Al-Al is the temptation demon of Babylon, and as mentioned, Zu, the distant one, the divine storm bird, Mamu, aka Im do good, aka a variant of Ak, to make plural, became the god of gods. They all fall from Mamu, Anzu, Im do good, to be defined, over and over again, which in turn created the pantheon. The new oracle, stressing a degree of separation and distance between God and man. Zu became the god of gods, which gave him the ability to write commandments. Anzu can also mean heaven wisdom. It is the gatekeeper and voice of God. Let's just agree that all of this is merely incredibly familiar. The Sumerian word for Yahweh, Lord, is En, meaning Lord, also means into, flee, infect, in the Amosal language, Mumu. Yes, my dear friends, if you worship the Lord, you worship Mamu. You worship Im do good. You worship Anzu, heaven wisdom. Yes, that would mean the Bible. Hebrew is ultimately derived from Sumerian, but there is no L in Sumerian or Akkadian. The vowels are interchangeable, therefore we are examining Al, Il, and Ul. Here I will help you visually, but I'd like you to make a mental picture of the character the words describe. Al, nishal, digging stick, wooden mattock, pickaxe, a forked hoe with 2 to 4 teeth, spade, death from the spear of destiny. Al, a verbal prefix, very similar to Al, which indicates 1, distance, 2, the speaker is not involved, or 3, the lack of a transitive relationship. Remember, El-OHIM often stresses a degree of separation and distance between God and man. You are told, but do you listen? put those two together, we get al-al, and a description which would align with its character. The event horizon, the cataclysm, which would also relate to ilah, ili, elah. Somebody better get her an umbrella. Ilah, ili, il, meaning carrier, to lift, to carry, to deliver, to bring, to endure, to support, to carry forward, to be high, to shine, to rise, to get up. And again, all refers to il and al, joy, pleasure, satisfaction, because some people revel in death. When there is blood on the ground, the land goes cheap. Also meaning star, flower, bud, ornament, to glitter or shine. I remind you once more, El-OHIM often stresses a degree of separation and distance between God and man, and the adjectives of all are remote, distant in time, ancient, enduring. And the conclusion can only be that there is no real change between el, al, il, and all. Therefore el is derived from al, il, or all, more than likely a combination of the three. There is also ul, ulu, to be quick, to hurry, hasten, harass. The Anzu bird granted the Lugal Banda lightning speed, and ul can refer to a god, an officer, judge, or anything similar. For example, the angel of the Lord. I think you'll agree that the picture the information paints points to the so-called hand of God. To finish off here, the variation of the term Gala demon contain al and ul, Gala, Gula, having the same meaning as ul, meaning police chief or a demon. We are told, but do we listen? Among other things, Gala can mean the great curse. The Isegala is the house that rises its head, and here they taught the ignorant, which can have a double meaning. What I mean is they taught ignorance. They taught the innocent to be ignorant, using the word. The true ignorance is that the demons are worshipped by the nobility, and their bright counterparts were produced for the people. And this is how they taught the innocent to be ignorant.